What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode, of Bloomington Buddies. Please welcome newly engaged producer Jackson. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Just happened over break and everything, so we're super excited. It's going to be great.
He said it was, between Michigan beating Ohio State, and he goes, man, hard to rank those two.
It's hard to rank them, man.
I don't know.
It's very tough, just kidding.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Not about Michigan.
But it's Michigan versus everybody, man. That's the whole story this year.
We will talk about Michigan. In a minute here. But first, we have to talk about Indiana football because it's the talk of the town here in Bloomington currently. We could first talk about the game against Purdue. I went to the game against Purdue. And,
I was keeping tabs on it while I was watching Michigan, Ohio State.
They were playing really well throughout portions of that game. They got out to a lead. Jalen Lucas returned a punt. But I said before the game, I think Tom Allen's coaching for his job in this game. I think if they would have won, I don't know if they would have fired Tom Allen.
You got ahead of me, actually. That was going to be my next question for you, was like, if IU wins that game, is Tom Allen still the head coach?
I feel like they would have kept him.
You think so?
I think they would have. But
so even if he wins, that's a 4-8 record, and we're still tied for last in the Big Ten.
I don't know.
In the Big Ten as total conference.
Well, I didn't think they'd fire him anyway. I thought him beating Wisconsin would keep him his job, but. Of course,
I was afraid of that.
Of course, IU goes up 28-18, 87% chance to win the game, and then it all comes crashing down. Purdue scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, and that kind of did us in for a loss. What really made me just fuming was the fact that on IU had the ball, 3rd and 1, with a minute to go. They run a sweep that goes nowhere. And then they run a QB option that also goes nowhere. Just the gain a single yard playbook is just so limited. That cost us this game and the Louisville game. So, you know what? I mean, Tom Allen, great guy. The players love him. And there are players that have been leaving.
I was going to say, that was the funniest part for me, was just the moment that Tom Allen left. I think a lot of our transfer portal guys, a lot of people applied for the transfer portal as soon as that happened, and I was just kind of like, okay.
Brennan Sorsby, QB, transferred, which, to be honest, I thought he played pretty well the back half of the year. He really struggled to start the year, but I think, ever since that Penn State game, I thought he was playing a little bit. I thought ever since the Penn State game, he was playing a little bit better. I mean, he was putting up points, but he's gone. I think Jalen Lucas might or has already transferred.
I think so, yeah.
By the way, he got robbed for all Big Ten, for first team Big Ten all-purpose player. I thought it should have been him over the dude from Iowa.
Oh, was it?
For return specialist.
Oh, really? I didn't even realize that he got snubbed.
Aaron Casey was the only player on IU that made first team all Big Ten.
Kind of goes to show the state of this team at this point right now.
Aaron Casey, somebody will draft him. But, okay, regardless of us losing to our rival, right, nobody cares because the new hire is Curt Cignetti, head coach at James Madison. And Jackson said that he has an article in the works about him that he's going to put on IUS TV.
It'll be on IUS TV's
so I will let him
website.
I will let him share what he thinks about this hire.
I absolutely love it. I mean, I didn't know too much about JMU going into the season up until we started talking about them on the show, So obviously, we had been following them, and up to, I think it was not last week, but the weekend before, they were undefeated, They're still currently number 24 in the AP polls right now. So very, very well done. Great team. Cignetti has done just an awesome job there. Let's see. JMU became part of the actual FBS in 2022, I believe.
I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, so, and since then, he has gone, I've got my article pulled up real quick, but he's gone 19-4, and he's clinched the first ever bowl game bid in school history.
Even though they're ineligible.
Yeah. But the team over. I mean, just from his record overall as a head coach, he's 119-35, which is just a little over 77% total win record. He's yet to have a losing season, so I don't know how they were able to. I mean, it's a smaller school, so I guess it's kind of understand how they were able to get him and everything, But like, this is a very good hire. I think this is going to be really good for the program. He seems to have a lot of confidence. I just read a tweet this morning where he was expressing how he wanted to bring on James Madison coaches from his coaching staff onto the team. He's looking to hire them for IU. So if he can get his guys from James Madison, I think that's a really good sign for the future.
I think I saw something, it was like with the Big Ten getting all these teams, are like lower tier Big Ten teams going to be like better, like more attractive jobs for coaches?
Could be.
And I guess they are. I did not think we would land a coach anywhere near this good. So hopefully he could get some recruits in place, maybe transfer some JMU players over here, because they got a damn good team, man. They're 11-1.
They're good, man. It was scary for a second because there were a lot of rumors going around that John Gruden was going to be hired here.
I heard
I
heard Paul Christ, the former Wisconsin coach. That's who I was hearing he was going to be.
It wasn't last night. I think it was like 2 nights ago or something like that. But yeah, Taven Jackson has been a huge, he's been, I don't want to say like a supporter, but like he's voiced his opinion on how he wants John Gruden to come to Indy and everything. And then he tweeted, it was like, got a huge, like something basically about like how they got a big pickup, how IU football's got a big pickup and everything. And then immediately after that, he posted a video on his Instagram story of a video of John Gruden, like trying to call a cadence for a quarterback,
Dude, I would not want John Gruden.
My roommate and I were like, they better not have hired fucking John Gruden, because if they did, this university is going to go fucking crazy if that happens.
I feel like a bunch of people that don't know ball would love it.
Yeah.
But
knowing his background, though.
What got it? I forget what he got fired for.
Emails that had sexist, homophobic, and racist messages.
I knew they ran him out for something. I just couldn't remember what it was.
So he was fired from the Raiders, and he's currently working with the Saints right now as like not really a coordinator. I don't even know if he's officially on their staff, but he's basically kind of like he kind of watches over practices and just
he's
like
trying to wait around for someone to like give him a job. He's just like gonna try to stay. The Saints, that would be the team that would hire him. That would be the team that would hire the Saints.
But like that's the thing. I don't even know if he officially works for them is the thing. I think he's just like, I don't even know how to describe it. I'll have to look it up or something like that. But it was weird. Here, let me see.
So yeah, I guess we could finish talking about all of Rivalry Week.
Currently right now he's listed as a consultant with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, all right.
So I don't know what that means.
So we're gonna do like a very quick 2-minute overview of the week before Rivalry Week.
Yeah.
Michigan picked up their 1,000th win in program history, and then everyone started to come out that they're like counting wins against like Ann Arbor High School and all this stuff. But then you look and like every team has something like that. Like I think Tennessee had a win against like the Knoxville School of the Deaf or something like that. There were some weird ones that teams got. So Michigan got their 1,000th win. The fans rushed the field after their monstrous upset win over Maryland.
Well, that was the funny thing is like you sent me a video of them storming the field, and really it was like maybe 50 people on the field or something like that, because it was a road game for them,
Yeah.
So it was just such a weird game overall, though. Like Michigan didn't play their best. It was obviously our worst game of the season so far, but yeah, people were harking on them a little bit. Like I was getting angry, but at the same time I was also like getting a feeling of comfort, because it's like whenever people like just berate Michigan before the game, it's like, yeah, that gives them a chip on their shoulder to go with, because like people were saying like, oh yeah, they're getting cold at the worst moment of the season, and Ohio State's getting hot at the best moment of the season, but it was just like, I guess we'll see.
Picks wise for this week, me and Jackson both went 20-6.
Let's go.
Johnny, on the other hand, 15-11. Ooh, that is
above 500.
Barely
above 500.
That's just not going to cut it when you're playing with the two of us. Just not going to cut it.
Best picks.
Other notable games. Kansas State beat Kansas Kansas cannot beat them. They just can't. Like, I know Kansas has been really good these past 2 years. They still have like a 13-year something losing streak to Kansas State. They cannot beat them. Texas escaped an upset over Iowa State.
Yep.
And UCLA beat USC. Clemson rushed the field after their monstrous upset win over North Carolina.
That was my thing that I was just like, dude, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that at all.
Yeah.
Like, that was cringy, I felt like. I was like, really?
I did not.
You were ranked in the top 10 at the very beginning of this season, and now you are
That was
unranked.
like A&M last year. I think A&M rushed the field after their only conference win last year. That Texas A&M team needs to be studied. Also, by the way, they showed Jimbo Fisher the door. I don't know if that happened since we had last. I don't know if that had happened. Anyway,
that was, I think, the week before.
I don't know if we talked about it or not. SEC Shorts had one of their best videos, I think, of all time. I should have sent you this. They have this guy in a box. He's a fortune teller, and it's Texas A&M fans going to the fortune teller the day after they hired Jimbo, and they were like, "How many national championships are we gonna win?" He's like, "Ugh, how do I put this?" He's like, "It's 0. It's not even close."
It's 0.
And one of them was like, "Well, he's got to be better than Kevin Sumlin at least." He's like, "The weight of Baltar's knowledge would crush you." And then he's like, "Well, it's not all bad. You have like a top 5 win in a pandemic season." They're like, "Pandemic?" He's like, "Baltar's not touching that one." And then at the end, did you see the guy that had like the Jimbo fill in the date national championship plaque?
I think so.
This guy had a plaque of Jimbo Fisher was like fill in the date national champions, and he's like, "Also, lastly, I wouldn't with the plaque." And then one of us is like, "What's he talking about?" He's like, "Has Twitter seen this?" It's hilarious. I thought it was one of the best SEC Shorts videos.
SEC Shorts is fantastic.
Like that one in particular was so funny. I thought, it was so funny. All right, so that was. Washington did beat Oregon State in what was a really good game. I think they won like 22-20 or something like that. It was a really good game. I picked Oregon State. I thought they would pull it out, and they put up a really good fight, but they ultimately just barely couldn't do it. So that was that for that week. Now we got to talk about rivalry week. So going into this week to win this season picks, I was behind by 1 game. We didn't know that going into the week, but I was still behind by 1 game because we both had the same.
Yeah, we had the same record.
So we're gonna go through some of the games, and then I'll say who won. Ole Miss beat Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl 17-7, which was just a disgusting football game. That was just I watched some of that game, and yeah, that was just not a very good game. Played on Thanksgiving. I usually watch that game instead of the nightly NFL game. Friday games. Oregon absolutely beat the brakes out of Oregon State 31-7. This is an Oregon team that's playing with a purpose, and we'll talk about them when we get to Conference Championship picks. Texas beat Texas Tech 57-7. I want to bring this up really quick because I saw a Texas fan page that posted this. Texas beat Texas Tech by 50. Oregon beat Texas Tech by 8. Little food for thought there. Just a little food for thought.
Yeah.
Missouri beat Arkansas 48-14 in a game that featured a massive brawl. That was fun, I guess. Penn State beat Michigan State 42-0. Just a pitiful team, Michigan State. They're just not any good at all. Oklahoma beat TCU. Iowa clinched the Big Ten West with a exhilarating
nail-biter
13-10 win over Nebraska.
Came down to the final drive, I think.
They did. They kicked a game-winning field goal.
That's what I thought.
As time expired, Nebraska, unfortunately, with that loss, not bowl eligible. Better luck next year. Iowa, we could talk about if they have a chance against Michigan or not, but we can talk about that. Saturday games. Georgia beat Georgia Tech in what was a pretty close game. I mean, Georgia Tech kind of made it close at the end, but Georgia will roll into the SEC Championship undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan takes down Ohio State 30-24. I didn't really watch much of this. I didn't really watch any of this game, to be completely honest with you, because I was at the IU game. I'll let Jackson talk about it. I picked Ohio State, though, and I'm very disappointed.
Let's go. But yeah, it was a fantastic game through and through. I mean, obviously, hate Ohio State and everything, but they played a hell of a game. Literally came down to the final drive for them. I mean, it truly was like a back and forth game the entire time. Truly in the second half, I should say. Michigan was able to get up. There were some questionable coaching calls by Ryan Day that Ohio State fans aren't happy about, like whether it was like to go for it on fourth down or really to go for it for a touchdown and all that. So there was a lot of different coaching decisions that Ohio State fans weren't happy about. Really, the game kind of came down to two things. One, it came down to the field goal, the final play of the first half, and the final play of the second half.
They missed a field goal.
That's really what it came down to at the end of the game, was just the final two plays of each half. Ohio State misses. I think it was like a 50-yard field goal.
It wasn't a chip shot, but
no, it wasn't a chip shot at all.
Would like to have that.
Sherrone Moore ices the kicker using one of their timeouts, and then he doesn't shank the kick or anything. It just barely misses the left of the goalpost there. So Ohio State goes down by 3 into the second half. And then basically in the second half, I mean, it was just a back and forth battle on offense. I mean, it's not to say the defenses were bad or anything. It was just the offenses were so explosive, really. I mean, Michigan scores, and then Ohio State turns around right back and scores right back again. Michigan scores. It's just literally a back and forth battle the entire time. And like I said, comes down to the final drive of the game. Ohio State is able to hold Michigan to a field goal and keep the game within 6. So, yeah, it basically, as long as Ohio State scores a touchdown, they basically win the game. And they get within like the 40 on Michigan, like Michigan's 40, and then it comes down to putting pressure on Kyle McCord, interception by Rod Moore. I mean, it was just an amazing game overall. I mean, I don't like to say I told you so or anything, but basically,
I told you so.
but I told, like, we got to put pressure on McCord. You got to put pressure on McCord. He'll crack. Like, there wasn't any pressure on McCord in the final minutes of the Notre Dame game. I can't even tell you how many times Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson brought up that fucking Notre Dame game.
The fact that he led them down and won.
When the final 2 plays of the game, there were fucking 10 guys on the field for Notre Dame. So it was just like, so many times they brought that up, and it was just, it was annoying. But Michigan ends up winning it. I mean, my dad and I, like, and my brothers, like, we just fucking lost it when that interception happened. I feel bad because I genuinely thought about recording like all of our reactions for the end, but then I was like,
you should have.
Well, I was like, what if we lose? Then that's gonna be embarrassing. But it'll still be good content. But then I just was so invested in the game that I forgot to grab my phone.
That's what I do. I
know you do that. I know you have it on your channel all the time. So I should have done it.
That's how you get views. You just put the video and make the title all caps, and you'll get like at least like 2K views. It's crazy.
Clickbait.
I don't do that a lot, but I sometimes do. Marvin Harrison, pretty much the only guy out there doing anything for Ohio State during portions of that game.
There were so many times, like, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the one player I just absolutely respect on Ohio State. He's so good. Like, there was at least 3 plays that happened during that game where I was just like, I can't even get mad. Like, that's just an amazing play. Like, Marvin Harrison makes a back shoulder catch for a huge gain for a first down. Second half, he makes like a 45-yard catch one-handed while being just absolutely mugged by a Michigan player. Like, it was pass interference, clearly, but he still just turns around and just makes a one-handed catch, and it's just like, what do you even do in that situation? I can't even be mad. It's just a hell of a player. He's so good.
Michigan ran the ball 39 times, only threw it 21 times. If I have to watch J.J. McCarthy go out and win a Heisman after 148 yards passing, I'm going to kill somebody because that's ridiculous. But good for Michigan. I want to bring up Ryan Day and Ohio State because Ryan Day, you're the new Jim Harbaugh. You can't beat your rival. I saw a stat. Ryan Day is 1-3 against Michigan. He's 1-3 in the college football playoff. Or in I think he's 1-3 in the playoff. The only game he won was when they played Clemson and beat him. And then they lost to Bama, and they had lost to Clemson earlier, and then they had lost to someone else. People are like, oh, got to get rid of him. Can't beat Michigan. So he's 1-3 in the playoff, 1-3 against Michigan. He's 54-1 in all of their games. So if you're an Ohio State fan, you're no longer the top dog of the Big Ten. No longer. Do you try to get a new coach, or do you just stick it out with Ryan Day? I probably would just stick it out with Ryan Day.
I would genuinely, and this is not me saying this as a Michigan fan. I genuinely think they should stick it out with Ryan Day because, like you said, 54-1 outside of the playoff. Like, he's led your team to success. Like, obviously, yeah, when it comes to the big show, he hasn't been able to do too much. He's able to get his team to a national championship, but wasn't able to get it to pull it off or anything, But I think you have to stick with it. We've stuck with Jim for going on close to 10 years at this point, I think. But, it's so sweet when it finally does pay off. So I think they should stick it out with Ryan Day. As much as I don't like that guy, he's a great coach and he knows how to lead a team. So I think they should stick it out with him.
All right. Other scores from rivalry week. This goes in order of ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Washington almost sold the bag in the last regular season game to Washington State. I mean, rivalry game, and the Cougs came to play, had the game tied up with 5 minutes, but Washington nails a kick as time expires to win 24-21. I know we've given Washington a lot of shit for struggle wins. I'll give them this one. I mean, it's a rivalry game. Gonna be close. Washington State, that was their whole season riding on that game. I'm not gonna give them that much. So here's the thing. When we made picks for the Florida State game,
mm-hmm.
It was before we knew Jordan Travis was hurt. And I was about to text Jackson, do I reserve the right to change my pick? And then I realized Florida's Graham Mertz was also hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm all right, I'm just going to ride it out with Florida State. And they take them down 24-15. I was really impressed with Florida State's defense. I know they're facing a guy, whoever M. Brown is, who threw 9 of 16, 86 yards, 1 pick. But, defense really showed up that game. That was a really gritty win for them. And, they're going to have a date with Louisville in the ACC title. If Florida State wins, they're in the we're going to talk about the playoff coming up here. The aforementioned Louisville, though, did lose to Kentucky 38-31. I actually picked Kentucky. I was like, dude, Louisville's not that great. They're just not. I was like, I have a feeling Kentucky's going to beat them. And that actually tied that. Winning that game, I think, tied me up in the picks with Jackson.
I think so, yeah.
That was one of the games that I got right and he didn't. So, Louisville already had a very slim chance of making the playoff, but it was there. Slim has gone to none. They now cannot make the playoff, but they're still playing for an ACC title though. Auburn and Alabama, the Iron Bowl.
God,
holy cow, this was a good game.
An incredible ending.
So Auburn went out and lost to New Mexico State by 21 points the week before, and everyone's like, yeah, but they're going to hold Bama close. That's what everyone thought.
It's just...
This is just like the game from 2 years ago when Bama came back and beat them in 4 overtimes because Auburn had this game, bro. They had this game.
Mm-hmm.
They were up by 4. Bama drives down, gets it in a goal-to-go spot. And they snap it at Jalen Milroe's feet, and it rolls behind him. And he picks up to throw it away, and he slips. So he's down. They had a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line. And they just lob it in the back corner to Isaiah Bond. Hauls it in. 2 feet. That's good on Sundays.
I don't know if it's an incredible ending, but I don't even know if that's the right receiver to throw to. I mean, it's a one-on-one battle in the very far corner of the end zone. There was a guy that cut right across the middle of the end zone. I feel like that's 9 times out of 10, that's the guy that you go to because he's wide open. He's got plenty of space. You're not in danger of throwing it into the corner, possibly throwing it out of bounds or anything. And it was just a dime. It was such a beautiful throw. Perfect catch. I mean, it was just all around, just an amazing play by Alabama and a very shitty play by Auburn. If you just look at the way that they set up, their defense set up for the play, basically everything that could have gone wrong for Auburn in that play went wrong in that final play of the game.
what's it called? SEC Shorts made another video about this. They have a little skit they do. It's like the miracles department, and like Bama's requesting a miracle, and they're like, no, we've given you too many, and then they're like, and Milrose back to throw, and he's making a ham sandwich, and now he's eating it, and now he's reading a book. And then they just like click it, and they're like, "Oh!" And he throws to the end zone, touchdown, Isaiah Bond.
And he's reading a book.
It was something like that. But Alabama keeps playoff hopes alive.
They gotta
with
be
that
Georgia.
win.
They gotta be Georgia.
Other games, Arizona State screwed me over by losing. I decided to go with them. I really don't know why. They lost to Arizona. I couldn't remember. I thought I picked Arizona, and then I looked at the picks, and I had Arizona State. I was like, oh yeah, and then I remembered that I picked them. So that sucks for me. What other games? Oklahoma State took down BYU in double OT.
Yep.
NC State beat North Carolina. Clemson with a exhilarating 16-7 win over South Carolina. I can go to unranked games now. I'm just trying to remember if there were any really good ones. Ball State lost. Unfortunately, they are not going bowling this year. Tough to see. What else do we have here? UConn beat UMass. That was one game Jackson got right and I got wrong. The fact that happened just really made me upset.
Let's go.
Yeah. What else?
It was by the time rivalry week came around, it was so far from when we made the picks that I had no clue. I don't even remember.
I
who
didn't
I
even
picked.
remember either. I looked this morning. This morning I counted up the picks.
I should have been keeping track as we were going along with this, but I trust you. So I was just I don't even remember who I picked for all these games.
So for rivalry week, I needed to make up one game. I went 20-6. Jackson, with a rivalry week record of 24-2. I'm looking through these games this morning, and I'm like, there's no losses. He got every split game right, besides Louisville and Kentucky. He got everyone right. Of the split games, he picked Purdue over IU, got that right. Picked UConn over UMass, got that right. There were some other ones. Picked Michigan over Ohio State. Got that one right.
By the way,
Wisconsin over Minnesota.
By the way, the streak is still alive. Thank you for the win.
We're not. So it's over. I was gonna say if we were tied, we could do conference championship week. I'm not. So final record: Jackson went 243-75. I went 238-81.
Very good scores, I think.
I would have to make up 5 games, so I would basically have to make every game different, and he would just pick all the favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, so hang on, let me do some quick math here. Okay, so how many total games did we pick?
It
over the course of the season.
Whatever.
So 243 plus 75. You said.
Yeah.
So 318 games. So 243 divided by 318.
Percent. It's probably
76%.
That's pretty good.
I think that's pretty good.
If you're over a 3/4 clip, that's pretty good.
76% for you. What was your final score?
238.
238 divided by
Wins.
318.
Probably 75.
74. But you can round up. It's got the 8 right after the 4. So you can
Okay.
round 75%. 75%.
I think we did a very good job.
I think we did really good, actually.
Johnny with a 57% clip.
Hey, above 500 still. Above 500.
Yeah, he not a very good week of picks. So it's time to talk playoff scenarios because that's really what we've been leading this whole year up to.
Yep.
It's time for conference championship week. Or hold on, I clicked on the Army Navy game on accident. Okay. The conference championship matchups are Conference USA is 8-0 in conference and undefeated overall Liberty against 10-3 and 7-1 in conference New Mexico State. Mm-hmm. Great turnaround for that program. They had a very bad year the past few years. It's good for them. Oregon and Washington in the Pac-12. Texas and Oklahoma State in the Big 12. Georgia, Alabama in the SEC title. Tulane, SMU, both undefeated in conference for the American. Michigan against Iowa for the Big Ten. And Louisville against Florida State for the ACC title. Now, we got to consult the rankings because
I've got them pulled up right now. If you want
I just pulled them up. Okay. Georgia's at the 1. I thought maybe they would have Michigan jump them. They did not. I didn't think it would happen, but I was like, it might happen. Michigan's at 2. Washington is at 3. Florida State's at 4. Those are your 4 undefeated teams. Bottom line, if any of those 4 win, they're in.
Yeah. It's essentially what it comes down to.
If the 4 of those teams win, they're all making the playoff. There are 4 one-loss teams behind them, and 3 of them have something to say about it. Ohio State does not. Oregon is at 5, and Ohio State is at 6. Texas is at 7. Bama is at 8. I think Texas and Bama should be ahead of Oregon and Ohio State. That's just my opinion. At least Texas should be. Because I've been saying this for the longest time. I think Texas is a better team than Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
I get that Texas has a worse loss to a, we found out, not so great Oklahoma team.
Mm-hmm.
But, Texas has that win at Bama, bro. Basically what I take into account is record and then what's your best win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Texas is a better win than any of those one-loss teams, and probably better than any win Florida State has. And I think Texas is just getting, I get that they haven't looked that impressive, but they just put up 57 points on Texas Tech. The close win against Iowa State, close win against TC. Yeah. I think they're a better team. I think push comes to shove, Texas is a better team than Oregon. Now, the big team, the one team that can just cause a whole bunch of, but this team's better, but this team's better, but this team's better. The one team that could cause all that chaos is Alabama.
Yeah.
They're sitting at 8. And people are like, well, even if they win the SEC title, is it going to be enough to hop Texas? Is it going to be enough to hop Oregon? What if Florida State wins? What if this happens? Bottom line. If Bama wins the SEC after beating a team that has lost one game the last 2 years, Georgia, if they win that game, they're not keeping them out. They're just not.
And because of that, if they bring Bama in, you have to put in Texas. You have to put them in.
You do. You can't leave out Texas if Texas beats Oklahoma State.
So let's say
I don't know how they're going to do this.
Let's say everyone but Georgia wins in the top 4. Everyone but Georgia wins in the top 4. Does the top 4? This is what I think it looks like. Then it would be Michigan, Washington at 2, then Texas, Bama, right?
I mean, I think so. Do they kick out Florida State and then put? Here's what could happen though. They could kick out Florida State.
I feel like, yeah. Go ahead.
What they could do is they could go Michigan, Washington, Florida State, and then just put Texas there. But here's the thing. That's so. Maybe it's not. I think they would put Bama in and kick out Florida State. Because I've always been they're undefeated, they're more deserving. Look me in the eyes right now. And tell me Florida State's better than Alabama or Texas. They're not.
That was my thing too, because you
texted
me the rankings yesterday and you asked me what I thought, and I said I think right now this is the right rankings, because as long as Florida State remains undefeated, they deserve a spot. So I'm with you on that. As long as they're undefeated, they should be in the top 4 and they should be playing in the playoff, because they've got the best record. They haven't lost, So it's like
the thing is though, if Bama wins if I'm a voter and Bama wins the SEC, I would put Bama and Texas in and leave out Florida State. That's what I would do.
It sucks, but I think I agree with you. Because Florida State, I don't know, though. I don't know. But, yeah, like you said, Bama's truly the team that can just cause so much chaos with a win over Georgia in the SEC championship. So, it just...
And then you get down to, well, do they keep Georgia in? But I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
So there are 8 teams, and only 4 are going to make it. So let's go through picks.
Yeah.
Let's go through picks. Pac-12 title. I think Oregon will win. And this is not me trying to rag on Washington. Oregon is actually a 9.5 point favorite in this game. That seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's not even that I think Oregon's better than Washington. I think these teams are like 50-50 talent-wise. Washington won the first matchup. Oregon, I think, will win the second. It's really hard to beat a team like that twice. Mm-hmm. I think Oregon's going to win. Do you think, are you agreeing with Oregon?
I think so. I think that's the right pick. I think Oregon will be able to go back to the film from their loss against Washington. I think they'll be able to adjust. I think they could pull it off. Like, Oregon's been on a big hot streak. Like, they've been taking care of business. So I think it will come down to the Ducks in the end.
Yeah.
But the thing
is though, Oregon always loses a game near the end of the year. They always do it. They haven't done it this year, but we'll see. Oklahoma State and Texas. I think Texas will win.
I think so. Yeah.
I hope they lose. Only school that denied me. I would laugh my ass off if they don't get in the playoff. I think that'd be so funny. Michigan, Iowa. I'm gonna skip around. I'll give you a fun look. I'm pretty sure you've seen this. Guess what the over/under for Iowa points in the first half is?
Over/under for points in the first half?
Yeah.
7.
It's half a point. It's will they score in the first. Guess what the over/under is for points in the second half?
7.
It's also half a point. The over/under is will they score in either half? And my friend's like, dude, that's free money. That's free money. I'm like, you're betting on Iowa's offense. I want you to just remember that. You're betting on Iowa's offense.
My brother texted me. He said he was listening to a college football podcast this morning, and he said they talked about how Iowa is perceived nationally. Quote, if they were a fairy tale, they'd be the ugly duckling. If everyone was rooting for the ugly duckling to drown. So
I don't understand why people dislike Iowa so much.
That's my thing. Is like,
hey, you know what you're getting with Iowa. You're getting a not very good offense. They got the defense, though. They got the defense.
It's the story of the university this year. It's just like, it's so funny because it's completely different spectrums. They have a historically great defense this year. Amazing defense, but also a historically bad offense.
Here's the thing, though. If you have that defense, you can be in any game. I think Michigan will win. But my final score prediction is Michigan's favored by 22. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say 21-3. Final score. Michigan wins.
I'm going to go final score. I'll give him a touchdown. Yeah. I'll give him a touchdown. Why not? No, I don't think so.
No.
I
was actually at the game 2 years ago when they beat them like 42-3.
Yeah.
I will say closest 42-3 game I've ever been to. Like 42. It was like a game for a while.
It was weird.
Basically what ended up happening is Michigan was up like 14-3 the majority of the game. And then Iowa would like get across midfield and then just not score. They like kept getting close, and then Michigan like tore the top off of them in the fourth quarter.
I will say final score. You said 21-3?
Yeah.
I'll go. Let's go 30-3. I think 30-3.
Okay. Louisville, Florida State. Florida State's favored by 1.5. They're going to be trotting out a backup quarterback who did beat Florida on the road. They're going to be trying to go to backup quarterback. Does Louisville rebound after the loss to Kentucky in this ACC title? I want Louisville to win this game so badly. Because Florida State, I don't want to see Florida State versus Georgia in the first round and watch Georgia roll them by 50 points. I don't want to watch it. I hope Louisville, I don't even hate Florida State. I'd rather see Texas play Georgia because it'd be a better game. I think Louisville can do it. I really think they can do it.
I'm not sure if I'm on the same level as hype as you against Florida State, but I think that there is a case that Louisville could make it a battle.
Like, I just don't think they're that good of a team. They have a win against LSU, a 3-loss LSU, but a good win against LSU. But then it's like their next best win is like Duke. They got like Duke, Clemson, Pitt.
A lot of their big wins were in the very beginning of the season when we thought that these teams were going to be top-notch teams, you know, which I think these games are still very much, I think we still should honestly hold them a little bit in higher regard because of the time that they played them. Like, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite for saying that because I also gave Ohio State shit for the Notre Dame game. But, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hypocrite. Maybe I'm a hypocrite.
Here's the thing. I think Louisville's going to beat them. I think, they're trying to go to backup quarterback, dude. They have to lose at some point.
Yeah.
They have to lose at some point. If they were starting, if Jordan Travis was healthy, I'd be like, all right, Georgia versus Florida State could be a good game. Like, if they have to play Georgia, if they're the 4 seed, they're gonna kill them, bro. I don't even know their backup QB's name. He's gonna die.
Stop! He's already dead.
He's just a baby, bro. Like,
have you seen that meme?
Yes, I have. Oh my god.
Stop.
I think Louisville's gonna win. I think they bounce back angry. I think you could make the argument they could have been already preparing for this game instead of Kentucky. So I think Louisville beats them.
I think Florida State still edges out the win, I think.
Okay. They're going to win by like 2, and then they're going to make
that's my thing. Is like, if they do win, it'll be a very close game, and it just... Yeah, I think Florida State's going to pull it off, and I think they'll still be in the number 4 spot.
All right. The big game, the one that really everyone's going to be watching with super intent, is Georgia versus Alabama. Bama ranked 8, but they're still undefeated and 11-1 overall. Undefeated in conference, 11-1 overall. Mm-hmm. They would be ranked probably number 2 if they didn't lose to Texas.
Now, I hate Bama just as much as the next guy.
So do I.
But I will say they have kind of been the dark horse this entire season. Like after that loss, like everyone wrote them off. Everyone wrote them off. I wrote them off. I'm pretty sure you did as well. So the fact that they're in this position right now, them off.
Well, here's the thing. I'm looking at their schedule. I know you picked Ole Miss to beat them, but I picked Tennessee to beat them. So, yeah.
Looking back on that one, I don't know if that was a good pick.
Tennessee had them, bro. Tennessee had them up 20-7 at the half.
No. I'm saying my pick for Ole Miss. For Ole Miss, yeah.
Yeah, but you could also make a bit of the Florida State claim, like, oh, they barely beat Auburn. Oh, they barely beat, like, still though. They have the chance, though, to beat the number 1 team in the country. And Georgia, they've just been eviscerating teams. Because people were like, oh, wait till those last 3 games. They got to play Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee. 3 ranked teams. Wait till Georgia has to play them. They're probably going to drop 1 or something. 30-21, 52-17, 38-10. I think this is lining up just like 2021.
Yeah.
Where Michigan beat Ohio State, and then later that day, Alabama needs a miracle to beat Auburn, but then they beat number 1 Georgia anyway. Georgia opens at a 5-point favorite. I just don't see any way they beat Georgia. I just think Georgia's going to beat them.
I think they can beat them.
They can.
They definitely can.
Can and will are 2 different things.
Yes, they definitely can beat them. I just don't think they will because this is Georgia's game that they're looking forward to. Like they've been preparing for this one.
I know
for quite a few weeks now. You know they have. I know they have.
I know Bama has a really good defense. Who's guarding Brock Bowers?
Yeah.
Like I think Georgia's going to beat them. Unfortunately I do. So the way I see it, Georgia wins, Michigan wins, Oregon wins, Texas wins, and then Florida State loses. So I guess what I am predicting for my playoff is number 1 Georgia, number 2 Michigan, number 3 Oregon, number 4 Texas.
I think so. For me, I have everybody but
You have Florida State winning.
I have everyone but everyone but Washington winning.
Yeah.
So for me, that would be 1 Georgia, 2 Michigan, 3 Florida State, 4 Texas, I think.
Or wait, so you think?
I think they would.
No, you would have it would be Oregon. It'd be.
Oregon. Good Lord, Jesus, Oregon. Yes. So 1 Georgia, 2 Michigan, 3 Florida State.
Here's the thing,
Jeez,
right?
why do I keep saying Texas? God damn. Oregon.
Here's the thing. If it comes down to a 1-loss Oregon or a 1-loss Texas, it should be Texas. This is coming from someone who really dislikes Texas. It should be Texas.
For me, I like both Oregon and Texas this year, so I wouldn't mind seeing either of them in the playoff, really. I think they can both definitely compete. So it would.
I just think, I get Oregon would have a win over Washington, but they'd also have a loss against Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, here's the thing, though. Georgia's going to beat Bama, and then they'll be like, good job, Texas. You beat a 2-loss Bama. That's what they're going to say. I don't know.
Regardless,
I just don't want to see Florida State in. I just don't.
You just don't want to see it.
I just don't want to see it.
So, question, the likelihood, even though they're ranked higher, the likelihood that Ohio State makes it in is very slim to none. But there is a sequence that happens that they do get in.
So
it's a lot that has to happen, and I'm trying to remember what it is. I know.
Here's what I think it would be.
I think
it'd be Georgia, Michigan, Washington all win.
So Florida State loses, and Oregon loses.
Florida State loses, Oregon loses, Texas loses, and then Bama would have lost.
Yeah,
that's not even that unrealistic.
So
bro.
Everyone,
it's not even that unrealistic.
So everyone has to lose, but the top 3.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: if Washington wins, then there goes Oregon, and then if Georgia wins, there goes Bama, and then. Dude, pretty much all they need is Louisville and Oklahoma State to come through. That's all they need. Dude, they're going to make the playoff, bro. Come on.
I don't think so, man.
I didn't think it was that likely of a possibility, but damn.
It is, that's the likely situation that would have to happen, I think. So, for me as a Michigan fan, I need Oregon to win. I need Texas to win. Yeah, just Oregon and Texas need to win.
Or Texas, really. You only need one of those.
Yeah, either or, really.
Yeah. Here's my biggest thing. Dude, what are they going to do if Bama wins? What do they do if Bama wins?
Like you said, they're the dark horse, and like you said,
there's no way they keep out a 1-loss SEC champ. There's no way.
I don't think so, man. I think you're right.
Here's what I think would happen.
Basically, if Bama wins, then
I think they would hop Texas. They might just hop Texas.
So if Texas loses but Bama wins,
then that's easy. Then if Texas loses,
you think they would give it to?
Because Texas would have 2 losses.
Oh, that's fair. I forgot about that. Yep.
But even if Bama wins, they can't. They absolutely cannot keep Bama out. But here's the thing. If Bama wins, you can't keep out Texas. But then they're going to be like, well, we still have Oregon above Texas. So it's just going to be so hard.
It's going to be chaos. And someone's leaving very pissed off that day.
Yeah.
Very pissed
There's
off.
going to be one team that's going to be like,
how did you cover?
How did this happen? I don't know, man. I don't know. We can let fate decide. Do we want to talk about basketball?
Do we have time? You got until 15? You got a little bit of time. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. We can talk IU basketball. They got absolutely blown out by UConn.
It was bad.
I will say, I'm not one to blame refs. The reffing in that game was awful.
It's been bad this whole
awful.
year. It's been bad.
So bad. It wasn't the reason they lost. They still would have lost.
They still lost by 20 points. So,
but Kalel Ware is getting mugged under the rim by this big 7-foot white dude from UConn, and he's not getting a single foul call. Like, oh my. Also, UConn sets a moving screen every play. They won a national title off of setting a moving screen every play. I learned that when they played IU.
I've watched the film.
They have won. That's literally what they did. It's literally what they did. I'll quickly go over just the rest of IU. Okay, they did go out and beat Louisville in the second game. Now, Louisville is a bad team, but they also like almost beat Texas in that tournament. They hit a buzzer beater against Texas. Mm-hmm. And, you know, IU had to pull it out. They pulled out the 2-3 zone. I have been begging for a 2-3 zone this whole year. I'm pretty sure you've heard me say it on here. They should switch to a 2-3 zone. Because when they run man, they're leaving open threes. Now, here's the thing. The downside of a 2-3 zone is you sometimes allow open threes. They're allowing open threes anyway. Like,
so nothing much is changing.
But they were just so much better at the 2-3 zone. And Louisville's coach was like, well, Mike Woodson tricked me, man. I didn't think he'd go to... Dude, Louisville's coach is literally just a guy that they picked up. I think he's a former player. But he's like literally just a guy that they like picked up out of the YMCA. He's like, man, I didn't think they'd switch to a 2-3 zone. He tricked me. I didn't prepare for that. And one of them was like, there was something else that like happened. He was talking to like, he was like bad mouthing one of his own players in like an interview or something. He's like, yeah, man, he's just doing too much showboat. And I'm glad they dunked on him or something. He's crazy, bro. Crazy shit coming out of Louisville. But IU still beat Louisville. And then they had a game against Harvard in Indy, which I was going to go to and then decided not to. Because, dude, I got caught in so much traffic coming down on Sunday. It takes me like normally 3 hours to get from my house. 4.5. It was awful. So bad. Anyway, but they played Harvard and Indy while I was sitting in traffic. I kept refreshing the score. And they actually put together a really good game. Harvard was 5-1. Legitimate mid-major team. And IU went out and they beat them, man. They not only beat them, beat them and covered, too. The spread was only like 6. They beat them by like 13. So I was very, very happy with the way that they played. Finally, Mackenzie Mbako got involved and had a good game. 18 points. Mm-hmm. He had like 2 in both of the games in New York. I'm so glad they got him involved. Khalil Ware shot 12 of 13. Really the only reason that the game was as close as it was is because IU could not shoot the 3. They shot 26% from 3. But even with shooting 26% from 3, still won by 13. Still a very good game. Great second half. 50-36. They outscored them in the second half.
Yeah. This was a great second half for them.
And so I'm very happy with this. And here's the thing. Their guard play was still piss poor. Guess how many points they got out of guards? Of their 89 points, guess how many came from guards?
Well, I'm cheating. I'm looking at the scores too, so.
The answer is 11. 11 points from guards. Galloway with 4, Johnson with 3, Cups with 2, CJ Gunn with 2. I hope Xavier Johnson sees this because I'm about to go off on Xavier Johnson. This is going back to the Empire Classic when he played just not that great. He did okay in the Louisville game, but especially in the UConn game. He played 13 minutes because he got caught in foul trouble against Harvard or whatever. You are a leader on this team. You are a 6th-year senior. Act like it. Act like it. He's out there crying after every foul call. Like, you fouled him. Like, you're getting up on, you fouled him. There was a play. They subbed him back. He got 2 fouls against UConn. 2 fouls in the first minute of the game. So they subbed him out for a while. They sub him in with like 10 minutes left in the first half. And he picks up another foul within a minute. And as he's inbounding the ball, he's walking up the court, bitching to the ref. Shut up and dribble the ball up the court and quit complaining. You are a leader. You have to act like it. I'm so fed up with him. I'm fed up with him. He needs to play better and stop complaining. I don't know if you agree with that.
Well, I mean, his stat line is kind of showing for it.
It's-
you know, his
it's making me
3
go
points,
crazy.
1 rebound, 1 assist. I mean, for 13 minutes of play for a 6-year senior, like that's not good enough at all. That's not good enough. So, we've been saying, the refing so far this season has not been stellar by any means at all, you know, from the Big Ten. So, I mean, it's obviously it's a factor in the game.
Deal with it.
But, yeah, it's
bad
something that
every
you have to
game.
deal with it every single game, you know? Like, you have to be able to be the bigger man, and then you got to move on.
Adjust.
You got to adjust, yeah.
You were doing better when you were a freshman at Pitt. Adjust. Trey Galloway has just been ice cold from 3. Just ice cold from 3. And that's like his role, is the 3-point shooter of this team. 0 for 4 against Harvard. Did not shoot it well against in New York. He did not shoot it well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll come. Peyton Sparks, I thought of some. Peyton Sparks and Anthony Walker picked it up. I know I was talking about how Anthony Walker looks like he's legitimately like never seen a basketball before. Played really well in New York. He had a really good game against Louisville and against UConn. He had a really good game. So I'm glad to see him get going. Sparks, he only played 4 minutes against Harvard, but I love that dude. I absolutely love that dude. I love the energy he brings and the rebounding he brings. Gabe Cupps should not be playing 20 minutes a game. I love him. I love Gabe Cupps. Xavier Johnson needs to make it to where he's not playing 20 minutes a game. Like, I think he's a good player. Not good enough to be playing 20 minutes a game.
Gabe Cupps, you think?
Yes. Good player. Good player. Too young, too small to be playing that many minutes. Like, our seniors need to step up, dude. Renew's been playing like the best player on the team. Him and Ware, I think, are just a great front court duo. I love the way they've been playing. And, you know, I was really upset with Mbako because the dude couldn't guard a chair. Like, that's how bad his defense is. Defense is bad. But the offense is supposed to make up for it. But he's been, like, so unplayable on defense to where they just couldn't play him. So, but I'm glad he had that really good game. Despite him, I think, still not playing great. Bottom line. I use 5-1. That's better than a lot of teams in the country. Coming off a really good win. And Big Ten play starts tonight against Maryland. I will be at the game. Are you going to be at the game?
I don't think so. I'm trying to see if I can get a ticket, but I don't think so. We'll see.
If I find you a ticket, you want me to let you know?
Let me know. Let me
Okay.
know, and I'll see if I can come. So,
Okay, so Maryland, on the other hand, has been playing really bad. They lost to Davidson and UAB. So, yeah. I'm just going to go over the AP poll real quick. Purdue is ranked number 1. Just like last year, they won the Maui. They won a big tournament last year. I can't remember which one. Beat Marquette, Tennessee, Gonzaga. 3 in a row. They're ranked number 1. They have Edey and 4 shooters. And if you leave Edey one-on-one, he's going to score. And if you double him, he's kicking it to one of the shooters. That's just how they roll. Now, come tournament time, they'll shoot like 4 of 20 from 3, but, you know, don't worry about that. Marquette, really impressed with Marquette. They blew out Kansas. Blew them out. I don't know if you watched that game.
I didn't see this one, but I did hear about it, though.
Marquette did whatever they wanted that game. Whatever they wanted. So Marquette's looking really good. UConn also looking really good. Arizona won at Duke. I think we had already talked about that, but Arizona's still undefeated. Houston's undefeated. Duke got caught, lost to Arkansas, and Arkansas had just lost to UNC Greensboro and some other teams. Florida Atlantic lost to Bryant. That's my AP number 1 to start the year, so that was great. They did rebound with some good wins, though. The last thing, I want to see the team that I think I was the most wrong about is North Carolina. I had them at 40 overall in my Power 40. And they went out, had a 2-point loss to Villanova, but they beat Arkansas by 25 and put up 100 on Tennessee. And Tennessee is always near the top in defensive efficiency. So North Carolina, team to be reckoned with, despite what I had said about them. Do you have any other basketball teams that have really impressed?
I mean, after I watched the Marquette highlights, I mean, that's obviously the big go-to right now. It's just how much they absolutely just stomped Kansas.
They did get beat by Purdue, though.
They did. But, I mean, Purdue's number one. So, I mean, it's like, what can you do at that point right now?
Till we play them. Lastly, I'll leave with this. There have been students in Lawrence, Kansas who have been camping out all week for a matchup against UConn. Tonight, UConn at Kansas.
Been camping out for a week, you said?
Yes. Because Kansas's arena isn't as big as IU's.
Yeah.
So they don't have as many student tickets. Like, they're in the stadium camping in their spots, pretty much.
Yeah.
I've read up about it. You have to have, like, at least one person from your group there at all time. They have, like, a whole, like, sheet of stuff. So they're there right now. They've been there all week. Do they get the win against UConn tonight? 9 o'clock on ESPN. Kansas is a 3.5-point favorite.
You said UConn's up or Kansas is up?
Kansas is favored by 3.5 at home against UConn.
Oh, that's going to be tough for UConn, though. But
I'm taking Kansas. I think they win it at home.
I
Despite
think-
how good UConn is. UConn's really good, dude.
I might have to take UConn, honestly.
You think?
I think so.
We'll see. Also, who wins? Do you think IU wins tonight?
Against Maryland, I think so. Yeah. Maryland's not really any good. We got the home field advantage and everything, so.
Two other games. Houston undefeated at Xavier. Houston's favored by 8.5. Xavier's looked a little kind of lackluster to start the year.
Yeah. I still think, Houston's got it, I think.
And then number 1 Purdue is at Northwestern. Last time they were number 1 at Northwestern, they got beat last year. So Purdue's favored by 5.
Yeah. I mean, you got to go with Zach Edey when it comes to playing Northwestern, at least. So
I don't know. It's hard to win. It's hard to beat anyone in the Big Ten on the road. I will say
that's fair. I mean,
the Big Ten is down this year. The Big Ten is down this year from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, they were. Here's the thing: they're always ranked real highly, then they can't win a tournament game. But like this year, the only really like good teams in the Big Ten, I think, are Purdue. I would have said Michigan State until they lost all those games.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like the really good teams are like Purdue, Illinois, Michigan State, and like I think IU's the next best team in the Big Ten.
You think so?
Who's better than them other than those three?
It's fair. I mean, just like
this is also
we haven't we only have one loss, but we
actually
ourselves haven't looked too impressive.
There's one other undefeated team in the Big Ten besides Purdue. It's Nebraska.
Is it really?
Yeah. Now they haven't played anyone good, but their wins are Lindenwood, Florida A&M, Rider, Stony Brook, Oregon State, Duquesne, and Cal State Fullerton. So, like, yeah, they do have a date Sunday with Creighton. So that, I guess, will be their true test. Thank you guys for watching. I got to go. So, peace out, everyone.